Okay, I think I have everything here to cut this brand new American Gold Eagle open. Maybe we try to find this computer chip everybody keeps talking about. So last week I got a hold of a new 2021 1-ounce American Gold Eagle Type 2, and that is the redesign. Now I had high hopes for this coin for a few reasons, but if I'm being honest, I've just been a little bit bored of the coin, the American Gold Eagle, for a few years now. So hearing that the design was being updated, in and of itself was good news. Now, redesigning the current most popular gold bullion coin on Earth takes some guts. It's hard to redesign a popular anything, so I wasn't surprised that they didn't mention updating the St. Gaudens Liberty on the Obverse. I was hopeful there too, though. I was expecting a little bit of an update. The subject of Lady Liberty is fine, but that sculpture is nearly 115 years old. And it's not even the original sculpture. It was modified to make it easier to strike, which means that some of the high relief got brought down. The coin really just needed some artistic improvements to the detail of Lady Liberty. And I'm sure a lot of people were plenty happy with the current Obverse as it was, though, simply because of its historical significance. I just always thought it was a little bit off. The reverse of the Type 1 didn't have any of that significance going for it, though. Now that I have a Type 2 in hand, I can say without a doubt that this is a nicer coin. The eagle head on the Type 2 reverse is simply a better sculpture. It's far more accurate and detailed than the family of eagles from the Type 1. And that's speaking from a technical perspective. The new design simply came from a more talented sculptor. But the subject matter is a little less compelling. It's an eagle's head. And this particular eagle means business. He clearly has no time for your shenanigans. And I know a lot of people weren't sure when they saw the sketch of the eagle's head just because of the subject matter, but again, the final product is done really well. The sculptor clearly knows what an eagle actually looks like. The Obverse did get some very minor updates. They just didn't get the updates the way that I was hoping they would. Lady Liberty's face and her hair, they're a little bit more detailed now. Her left arm is a little bit thicker. Actually, her whole body is a little bit thicker. And I know I'm breaking a rule there by saying that, but this is a different sculpture. Her foot is different, the olive branch and the foliage is different, the Capitol dome is different. It's actually really kind of weird. It's a different sculpture, but only in detail. And it turns out that it was meant to make it look more like the original sculpture before it was modified by the mint engraver. So it makes sense that she's a little bit thicker now because we've got back some of that high relief. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're going to mess with the sculpture, why not make noticeable improvements? I just think the US Mint missed an opportunity here. And speaking of missed opportunities, that brings us to the security features and the missing tooth on the reeded edge. Let's hold on that for a minute because I feel like we need to set the stage a little bit here and take a look at what a few other mints are up to when it comes to security. And I think a really good place to start is with the Canadian Maple Leaf. Now, the Royal Canadian Mint has been at this for a while. In 2013, Canada updated the Canadian Maple Leaf. They introduced the laser mark with the bullion DNA. And that's an anti-counterfeiting measure. It actually allows the registration of each coin. The way that works is that this textured micro-engraved leaf can be photographed and then it's registered to a database and that will let other dealers authenticate the coin. So if you ignore the overtones there that this coin could hypothetically be tracked, it's pretty innovative in terms of security. And that alone would have been pretty effective all by itself, but in 2015 they added radial lines, and that makes the coin even more difficult to copy. So long story short, the Canadian Maple Leaf has legitimate security features. So fast forward to 2021, the Royal Mint introduced the new Britannia. Actually, it was introduced last year, but it was a 2021 coin, and this is a step further than the Maple Leaf. Just like the Maple Leaf has radial lines, the Britannia has this wave field, and that's a more sophisticated implementation of the same idea. It would be very difficult to copy this. And then the Trident security mark, well, that becomes a padlock when it's tilted. That's pretty amazing all on its own. And then it also has laser engraved Latin microtext. Any single feature there would be incredibly difficult to counterfeit. I don't even know if it'd be possible, and the human eye can see all three of those features. So if you buy a Britannia, 2021 Britannia, just looking at it, you're going to be very confident that this is an authentic coin. You don't have to do an XRF scan. You don't have to do an acid test. You'll just know. So that was the state of security when the US Mint announced that the new Eagles would have security features. Now, if you have scanning gear, an American Gold Eagle has a very specific alloy that's going to make it almost impossible to trick something like an XRF scan. But not everybody has that kind of equipment, and the security features really were meant to give people a way to verify this through the naked eye. So that brings us back to the missing tooth and the reeded edge. Now, removing a reed almost does the opposite. I thought that maybe the gap between the reeds would be a different thickness, so simply removing a reed wouldn't be enough, but that's not the case. Filing off one of these reeds will get you here. And I was more than a little bit surprised with that, because a counterfeiting operation, all they have to do now is file off a reed. And it would look that much more authentic to anyone visually checking the coin, so it would be a very convenient false positive. And I've seen several mentions of additional secret security features, and maybe if you look deep enough into the eagle's eye, there's some kind of secret message in there, but I don't see anything. And I don't think a missing reed can be considered a security feature at all, especially when you consider the features from the Royal Canadian Mint and the Royal Mint. Now, there might be security features in the works, and I wouldn't be surprised if the US Mint rolled out those updates like the Royal Canadian Mint did. Their radial lines came 2 years after the micro-engraved maple leaf. But even without all of that, I would say that we got a nicer American Gold Eagle. And I personally intend to get back to buying them. The new Obverse makes them a little bit more interesting to me again. I have a goal for buffaloes, so I need 3 or 4 more of those to hit that tube. And then I want a high relief Liberty Mustang that the US Mint is going to be releasing in August. And then there's a new dragon coming from the Perth Mint Chinese Myths and Legends series that I've been collecting. And then we're even going to see a Perth Mint Year of the Tiger coin this year as well. So I have a few distractions coming up, but the Eagle did move back up the list for me. So to close this down, I would say that this is a fine coin. The updates were nice. It's a very well-made coin. It doesn't have any of the edge spinning that the buffaloes seem to have more and more. And I don't think it changes the quality of the coin in big ways. But it is a nice refresh to something that had gotten a little boring, at least to me. Unless it turns out that there really are hidden security features, or we get a second iteration in the next year or two, I would say that very little has changed, both with the American Gold Eagle coin in particular and the US Mint in general. This will remain the current most popular coin in the world, and most people really won't care a whole lot about the change. And if you stuck around to watch me actually cut this coin open, I apologize for the bad joke. But there is simply no way scientifically or logistically that the American Gold Eagles could be chipped. So let me know what you think. Do you prefer the Type 2 design? Was it worth the wait? Let us know in the comments. And while you're there, feel free to update that like button if you enjoyed the topic. It always helps out. And if you made it this far, thank you again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.